Welcome to Soulfire Wisdom with Kate Olson. As an evolving spirit and change adventure navigator, it is Kate's mission to empower and guide you on your path and inspire your truest passions. She will encourage you to share your gifts, speak your truth, and ignite your inner wisdom and purpose. She hopes to do so with a little humor and grace, and her own soulfire passion. Kate talks with amazing guests who have embraced the pursuit and are fanning the flames of their own passion, purpose, and soulfire wisdom. Now here's your host, Kate.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Soulfire Wisdom and Totally Awesome, Try Something New and Talk About It Tuesday. So if this is your first time listening, I'm a hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner, Reiki master, and a life coach. But I like to call myself a change adventure navigator because I love guiding clients through obstacles and adversity to find their path, purpose, and peace, and maybe a little soulfire wisdom along the way. So what I tried this week was I kind of felt like I might be coming down with a cold, that feeling when you don't quite have a cold, but you're feeling like a little tickling in your throat, a little more congestion. And I thought, this just isn't going to happen because I haven't even been in any contact with people except for through a drive-through in 3 weeks. So how can I possibly be getting a cold? So I decided to try all the preventive measures that I could think of. And I started drinking echinacea and elderberry tea and gargling with lemon and honey water. And I haven't gotten a cold yet. So it seems to work. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I don't get that cold. But those things are supposed to strengthen your immune system. And even the warm liquids are supposed to break up any, like bacterias that, might be trying to settle in your respiratory system. So hopefully it worked and I'm not going to get that cold. So we have a great show planned for today. My guest is Annette Bond, and I met Annette quite a while ago, actually. Yeah. I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago at an event we were both attending. And then I saw her everywhere at networking. So I'm really glad to have her on today. Annette's a professional certified image consultant, stylist, speaker, and the founder of Definitive Style by Annette Bond. She's been in the style and image industry for 30 years, helping women to find their style and fashion sense. And she helps them when they're feeling like they're just, like a little bit off, or, they don't really know how to pull themselves together. And she helps them to find their own unique look. And we're going to find out more about that and how she makes them more confident. So I'm going to introduce Annette now. Hi, Annette. How are you?
Good. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. You look very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
So to get started, can you tell us a little bit more about your background and what led you to your current path?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole fashion style of who I am, what I do, really honestly was part of me. I look back on pictures that my mom took, and she was dressing me up. And I always thought, oh, did she know who I was going to be when I grew up? And I was always attracted to color, and I made my own clothes. And I was just kind of fascinated by image. One of my stories, when I was 13 years old, my mom took me to have a bathing suit made. And the reason was because I was, at 13 years old, literally the bustiest girl in my class. And I felt very, very subconscious. I mean, I didn't like it at all. And so when you think back on, the teenage years and thinking about what swimsuits are like, right? These itsy bitsy bikinis, and here I am, this busty girl. So my mom took me and had a seamstress make me a swimming suit, and I kind of go back. So I think I was always just very aware of image from when I was a little girl. So from there, I was enrolled in college. I got a marketing and communications degree. And when I got out, I went right into the fashion industry and went to work for a family owned business who owned several boutiques. And so I was able to really mentor from kind of every facet of the retail industry, with the owner, which was very awesome. Thinking about, here I am, this young 20-year-old, and I'm working with more of a high profile woman, an executive woman. And she really taught me how to work with women. And what I found is it started in fashion, but really what's evolved for me, it's about who is that woman from the inside out, because every woman wants to feel that confidence. It's not really always about, I have to be this fashionista, and my typical client absolutely does not want to be that fashionista, but she wants to be confident. She wants to feel put together. She wants to be polished. And that's really my passion, for helping a woman to be able to have that feeling while honoring who she is as a person.
So, how do you differentiate yourself from other image consultants?
I'm saying this in a very generalized way, but most people will say, oh, you're a stylist. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, yes, I help people style their clothes, but how I approach my business is very different. Most stylist, image consultants, and again, I'm saying this in a very broad way, start with, let's go to your closet. What do you have in your closet? What do we need to get rid of? What's working? What haven't you worn? Or they start with shopping. That's actually the last thing that I do, is the shopping. And I start with the woman. I believe that style begins with the woman and not the clothes. So I take her through a process of helping her to really uncover and reveal her inner radiance, her essence of who she is, the core of who she is, what are her strengths. How would people describe her? How would she describe herself? And believe it or not, knowing that information can come out in your clothing. And that's what I'm so passionate about, is starting at that piece. And then, yes, we will go into the closet. Yes, we do go shopping, but that's how I start, work my business in a very different way. Unique. Yeah.
So, people have an image of image consulting. A lot of people kind of see it as, you know, somebody takes you and creates you into this person that, you know, maybe isn't you. Is that a valid?
So, you know, kind of what you just, isn't that interesting?
Yes.
People do get these perceptions, right, on what is, oh my gosh, a stylist. And if you were to say a stylist, yes, that is what they do. Their job is to style you. So I'm going to go back to how I work differently is that I start with the woman. And it's like, I want to know everything about her from the inside out. And then what we will do, we will find that those pieces, that wardrobe that aligns with who she is. But no, I think there's many people that have that perception. Oh my gosh, what is she going to do to me? What is she going to make me wear? I think we've all had that experience with TV shows, right? What not to wear. And it's like drama. Oh my gosh, she's going to make me throw everything away. So what happens in the process on how I work with my clients, and it's actually kind of enlightening for me and for them, when they start owning and claiming this is who I am, they naturally will find those pieces they want to get rid of, that they will want to edit out of their closet, because they'll figure out is like, wow, that's why I didn't like that, or that's why I did like that. And so it's such a fun process and so fascinating to watch it all reveal itself and the layers that come out as I work with a client. So as a general rule, I do not work with anybody less than like 2 months. So usually it's more like 3 to 6 months. And then so it allows kind of all of this to come on to reveal itself versus that, you know, I'm going to get you in a day. That's hard to do. I can give you lots of tools, but it does take some time for a woman to find out, wow, I am really creative, and start seeing it in other parts of her life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you say that you help people in business align with their brand. How important or significant is aligning with your brand?
You know, it's especially if you're an entrepreneur, I believe it's of essential to do that. And why? Because we are the face and the image most times of our business. You may still have a team, but many people are the face of their business. And people want to know, it's like, wow, that first impression, it is real. And we want to know that we can like you, that we can trust you, and that we can do business with you. So when you show up aligned with your brand, and it's not always just about the image. I mean, that's a piece of it, but it's how you make others feel. What is that experience that people have with you? And the image is important in the fact of our brains. We see an image and our brains naturally try to discern, what does that image mean? You know, wow, she says that she's very much attention to detail. And then I see the way she's dressed and I'm like, whoa, she looks like a hot mess. There doesn't feel alignment. And so we kind of innately, naturally may not trust that person. So it's showing up again, the image of you, you're dressed, it's the image of your website, the image of your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook, whatever that might be, and making sure that all those elements really are aligned and your image is a piece of that. It's not all of it, it is a piece of it.
So, what does it mean? I've heard you refer to having a wardrobe that supports you. What does that mean?
So many women, and again, I'm going to generalize here because I hear it a lot, is that women have this closet, if you will, full of clothes, and sometimes feel like I have nothing to wear. And many times their closet is supporting their business life in a certain way, but it's not supporting the main facets of their life. So, for example, when we started doing everything at home, is women may have had the clothing to go to the office that supported them to feel confident and professional, but they didn't have the clothing to support them having an at-home business or being on Zoom. We also have different facets of our life. Let's say your wardrobe that supports your date night with girlfriends, or your significant other, or your weekend wardrobe. And so it's really it's not that you need 8 different wardrobes. I'm not saying that, but it's having pieces in your wardrobe that kind of support those different lifestyles and allow you to show up as your best self.
Okay, that makes sense. I've come across that before of, not having the right clothes for, what you wanted to do.
Yeah. Would you like me to share a little example?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, for example, many women love, have a great jean jacket. And sometimes we wear that jean jacket one way, thinking, okay, I wear this on the weekend and I wear it with my little black pants or my jeans, and that's kind of the one way I wear it. But it's taking that jean jacket and whether it's blue or white or black, and knowing, wow, I could put it with my little black dress, or I could put it with a sheath dress, and it would just, in my words, I call it a -1. It just kind of takes it down a notch, but I can still wear it like that, or with a really nice t-shirt. Or I could also wear it with my houndstooth black and white pants, with a black t-shirt and my black and white pants, and then wear my jean jacket with it. And then I could also wear it with my pair of jeans, or, a little skirt or whatever that might be. So it's having those pieces in your wardrobe that can be very multi-dimensional in different levels of dress, but also support you in those different lifestyles that you have. So it's being aware of that and utilizing your clothing in a bigger way.
So you say that you can attract more money by the clothes that you wear. So is that true?
So what does that mean? I'm going to kind of weave in here part of my training about 5 years ago that I added this certification, and I am one of 50 who is in the United States, who is a fashion feng shui facilitator. And so what that is about, it's about using your clothing to be very intentional. Using your clothing to be purposeful. I like to say even using it as a business tool. So, for example, if you're going to go meet, I was actually just on the call with a client. We were talking about this, and we were talking about how she interacts with men who are in their 60s, but she also interacts with a young man in business in his later 20s. And so if that man in his 60s is very traditional, very classic, you need to meet him where he's at. So it is dressing a little bit more classic, and it could be a jacket, if you will, because again, we do business with people that we know, like, and trust. And it's meeting him where he is as a person too. And we like people who are like us. So versus, let's say, the 29-year-old's a tech person in a very casual setting. If you went to try to do business with him in a three-piece suit, it would probably be very repelled, and it'd be the opposite of attracting him as a client. And so it's using your clothing very intentionally on those relationships that you have.
Okay. So, color consulting. Is that a real thing, or was it just like a trend that, everybody went through?
Yeah. I hear this a lot. So they will say, and you're kind of grinning, Kate, and maybe have this experience is, oh, that was a thing back in the 80s. We had our colors done. And yes, it was a thing in the 80s. But what's interesting, this is what kind of think got a bad name. And I actually was trained in the 80s. So that's why I'm kind of laughing about this, is when it first came out, people got very, and I'm actually going to grab my color wheel here, is people got very much into, I can only wear, these certain colors. These are my colors. And I can only wear, it was this little square, and they'd go into the stores and it was frustrating. And it's like, oh my gosh. But really, the essence of what color consulting is. So I feel very honored. I was actually trained by a gal named Leatrice Eisman, who is considered one of the international color experts. She is a director of Pantone Color. And color, doing the whole consultation of color consulting, it really is about your natural coloring, which people don't really realize that. So it is identifying what are those colors that are in harmony with your skin tone, your eyes, your hair, and what are those colors that bring out your natural coloring. And so that's really the basis and foundation of what it is. And so I always like to say this, you could be wearing a t-shirt, and if it's in your color scheme, people just look at you and they just go, wow, that color is, you look beautiful. And they almost don't even know why. It's subconscious, because they can see that harmony. And I have to say, I'm looking at the blue that you have on right now, and it's beautiful on you. I mean, it's very much in harmony with your natural coloring. So a little tip is, you can never ever go wrong with bringing out the color of your eyes. In fact, when you do that, it makes you appear more credible when you use the color of your eyes. I mean, don't we say it's the window to our soul? And so when people, there's a trust, and when our eyes sparkle, there's a real connection with people. So color, so that's the foundation, but it's also, it's having fun with color. It's using it as an expression of who you are. Color has a personality. It's like myself wearing red. I loved, and why I even chose this color is the name of your podcast is Fire for the Soul, right?
No, Soul Fire Wisdom.
Okay, sorry. Soul Fire Wisdom. Okay, I knew I was on the right track. And so that's a lot of energy in the name of your podcast. That's a lot of energy.
You might have noticed that my promo pieces are red.
Yeah. Yeah. So I decided I would align with your podcast. And
yes, you match very well.
So. I also did it because this is, if you want to feel more energy, wear those colors that have that energy. We all love black. I have on black with my red, but black is a very quiet color. It's a very introspective color. And I always suggest, in fact, I wrote a blog on it not too long ago about how to wear black is, putting texture with it, putting other colors with it, doing prints with black is to really change that up for those of us who love wearing black.
Yes, I guess I love color, and years ago I did get the color consulting, and I guess I had a good consultant because she told me that you can wear any color. You just have to find the right, tone, undertones,
right,
to fit with you. And since I have changed over the years, my color tones that go with me have also changed, which I found somewhat interesting. Not totally changed, just changed a little bit because I still have the same, eye color and skin undertones, but my hair color is different, and the contrast between I used to have a lot of contrast with dark hair and light skin.
Okay. Yes.
Now, not so much. But the reason I originally went to a color consultant was because I never wore green. And I didn't wear green because my mom had always tried to dress me up in green because it was one of her favorite colors. But she was a green-eyed blonde with a different skin tone than me. So with the colors of green that she picked out, I just felt sick, when I looked in the mirror. And so I bought this forest green coat that I just loved. And, it made me realize that, I can wear green. And so when I went to the consultant, I found out I could wear a lot of colors that I hadn't thought I could wear.
Do you know what? That's a great story, Kate, because a lot of men, have a story like that, and is that they have this why they can't wear something is exactly that reason. And the Leatrice, when I trained with her, I still remember her saying this, is that if there is a color that you don't like, you need to kind of go back to your life and kind of think about that. Was there something that went on, just like what you're saying, that you now oppose this color? Because that definitely, we get these stories that go on in our head. So that's a great story. Absolutely. So I'm glad you're now wearing green. I will tell you, green is a color people kind of have a love and hate relationship with green. There's people who love it, and there are people who do not like green. So my suggestion is to kind of go back to your past and find out what that story is. and try to get through it, right? Because there's lots of shades of green.
Yes, definitely. So, who in general comes to a image consultant or stylist? Who are your clients?
Do you know, my ideal client, the gal that tends to come to me, is she's successful, she's smart, she's doing amazing things in the world. But when it comes to her fashion or style sense, she questions it. And it's usually not her thing. She knows that she needs to have an image. She knows that she needs to show up, that her image matters, but she needs help with that. She realizes, you know what? It's not kind of my thing. And I question, does this look good? Do I look the part? Does this match? I need your help. And it has nothing to do with that you need to be a fashionista. I say we all have our gifts on what we're good at and what we, I say the gifts God has given us, and fashion or style is probably not one of hers, and it's okay. But she knows the importance of that she is a package and that she needs to show up fully as who she is from the inside out. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a friend who she actually would have liked to turn her kitchen into a closet. But she considered herself a foodie because she liked good food. She just didn't know how to cook it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So my client, as a general rule, is usually not a fashionista, and she doesn't want to be a fashionista. She just wants help with her professional image.
So in today's world, with what's been going on, are style and fashion really still important?
Do you know? This is, again, I'm going to go back. I just had this amazing conversation with a professional woman right before I got on this call. And, she had been sharing with me, she worked in an office, and she said, I would wear my pencil skirts and I was wearing this and that. And the minute I got home, she goes, I can't wear all that. And I believe that this is what's kind of happened, is that I've been working at home my whole life. And so to show up professional at home was not, that it wasn't odd for me. But people who didn't work from home, they consider their workplace, that's where I look professional. And when I'm home, this is where I'm comfortable and casual. And so through that conversation, what she decided is, she said, I wasn't feeling, I had decided I really went backwards. And I think a lot of people have done that, have kind of abandoned their wardrobe or their professionalism and say, does it really matter? And now they're kind of coming back to the middle and saying, you know what? I feel better about myself when I do take time to feel professional, to look professional. And so sometimes, and I believe this, it's not always just how we look, but it's how do you feel? How are you feeling about yourself? Are you feeling confident? Are you feeling successful? Are you feeling that what you want to bring to the conversation? So that's what people think that, I always say, you get on Zoom and that you're not being seen. Is we see you. We do see you. And we can see that you're pretty chilled, or you're not really engaged, or we can feel you when you have come to be present 100%. And it really comes back to a lot of your professional presence, that executive presence that you bring to I like to call your happy square. about, and you have 100% control of that. So use it to your advantage.
Yeah, that's very true. I had a lady who does amazing professional work that I was trying to connect with someone else who puts on wonderful events and conferences. And I was trying to connect them for a long time. And then that woman who does amazing professional work came on my show, and she was on vacation at the time. And she presented herself in a very, casual way, in her, shorts and t-shirt and actually lawn chair, and she really was on vacation. And the other woman that I was trying to connect her with happened to see that podcast. And so when I brought up her name again, she said, "Oh no, I need someone professional."
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about right now too is we have our reputation, right? I'm going to go back to our brand on why it's important. And we have these visual images in our brains that we file away about that person. And forevermore, you're going to probably think, oh yeah, she was that gal that showed up in her shorts and t-shirt and her lawn chair, and not, I don't know, but
no, not really, because I have seen her in her professional setting, but I know she didn't present herself to people that didn't know her. And that woman just dismissed her because she thought, that isn't the type of professional that I need to work with.
Yeah. Yeah. So where I guess I'm going with this is it's still our brand, and you need to decide, how do you want people talking about you? How do you want people experiencing you? What do you want people to say about your brand when you're not in the room? And that's part of your
people that don't know you. We all know people that, they can be very different in their professional and non-professional lives. And when we see them in their non-professional life, that doesn't influence us because we know their work. But if we didn't, that we might get a whole different impression.
Yeah, exactly.
So over the course of all the years that you've been in this industry, how has your own style and image changed or evolved?
Do you know, that's a fun question. So I started in the image and style industry 30 years ago. But even when I just started Definitive Style 10 years ago, I look back at my pictures because I tend to get pictures taken more often, just to keep updated in that. And when I went back and I was looking at the pictures, I was like, oh my gosh. I look at myself and, this is where it really comes from. I believe it comes from, again, the inside. It's my personal growth. I've been in the personal development, what do I want to say, for myself personally, for 30 years, growing myself. And I find when we grow ourselves from the inside out, we start looking at ourselves differently. And when you start looking at yourself differently, you start dressing differently. And so, there's times when you may have some pieces in your closet and you're thinking, oh, should I get rid of this? Should I keep it? And one of the values that I kind of checklist that I suggest you even look at is not that maybe I haven't worn it for a year, which a lot of people would say, okay, turn the hanger. And if you haven't worn it for a year, take it out. There's also the notion that you've bought some really quality pieces and they're not worn out, but you're just not wearing them. And it might be that that's who you were 5 years ago, and you're someplace different now, mentally, emotionally, financially, and you want to show up as your best self. And that's how I would just kind of say myself on how I've shown up differently. It's more confidence. And so I dress probably I do dress with more confidence. I'm more willing to take risks. I'm more willing to stand out because I'm very grounded in who I am and my voice to the world. And so I'm willing to be seen more. Yeah, in how I dress. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you that's it's kind of out of the realm of image and that, but I've been asking it to all my guests recently. So what has surprised you most about life so far?
Is that I'm going to go back to the whole personal growth. It's learning about myself. Is you think, oh, I know myself. This is how I am. And then you listen to a podcast or you do a coaching session and you go, oh, wow, that was an aha. I didn't know that about myself. And so I am such a self-awareness of myself and constantly wanting to grow and to learn. And I think that's what surprises me is that, wow, I learned something today.
There's always more. Yes. I remember it was at a Tony Robbins group where we met. So
okay.
That was in that self-improvement, self-development.
And that was a very defining moment. I went to see Tony Robbins. I went to one of his events, and have you also?
Yes.
It was extraordinary. Loved it. Yeah. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. I couldn't remember that was.
Well, I just, when you brought up the personal growth, I was like, yep, I saw her there.
Yeah. Yeah. You can vouch for me, right?
Yeah. So we're almost out of time, but I have one more question. If you could leave the listeners with one thought from today's show, what would you want that to be?
One of the things I love to do, and I didn't mention it, but it kind of weaves in everything that I've done, and that is to honor who you are, to honor that inner radiance, that inner core of who you are, because we want to know who you are authentically. And when you can show up authentically from the inside out, we are drawn to you. And so one of the things a little exercise I give is if I could give you a blank t-shirt and you could put one word on that t-shirt that describes who you are, it's a value of who you are, what would that be? And what would that look like in your clothing? So it's to really honor that inner radiance, which is really the core of how I work with my clients.
Great advice. We find it hard, but if we are our genuine self, it makes it much easier for other people to relate to us. If they're trying to figure out, like, who is this person?
Absolutely. 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 Yeah.
So if people want to find out more about image consulting or get in touch with you, how would they do that?
So I would first start with going to AnnetteBond.com, which is my website, and that's ANNETTE. And on there, I have a blog that you can kind of see a little bit about what interests me and what I talk about. I also have a workshop. It's called a Q&A style chat that's free. I have a couple of those going on this month. And I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook group, and you can find Annette Bond or on LinkedIn. So usually LinkedIn or Facebook, those are kind of my two primary, and my website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here and talking about this. I think people are just, really anxious to get out and be around other people and maybe dress up a little bit. So,
and it's okay. I'm going to give you permission. Anybody who's listening, it's okay to dress up at home. If you want to wear your stilettos, you want to wear your favorite scarf, your favorite necklace, I give you permission to go have fun with your style.
Great. So I want to thank the listeners for being here today as well. And we have another great show planned for next week. Next week, my guest will be Dave Gerber. And Dave's main career is training and development for companies. He's known as a conflict healer, but he has a couple of side interests that he's pretty passionate about. And one of them is writing children's books. And he's written a book on one of his main interests, which is artificial intelligence and robots. And he's written a series of books actually with his daughter. And these are children's books. And so we're going to talk to him about that area of his life and passion. And so that'll be next Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. So be sure to join us and find out. The book is, or the book series is about a robot finding its heart. And there's several different books in the series. So we'll find out more about that. So again, thank you, Annette.
Oh, thank you. It was awesome. I loved our conversation.
I did too. So I'm just going to say bye for now. Join us next week.
Thank you for listening to Soul Fire Wisdom with Kate Olson. We hope you enjoyed the show. If we made you laugh, brightened your day, or sparked a new thought, we have succeeded in our mission. Join us next time when we'll share more secrets and truths and all the magic of transformation that is the journey to Soul Fire Wisdom. Always remember, be fierce in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire.